Welcome to the fascinating world of ecology. Imagine a giant web connecting every living thing on Earth, plants, animals, and even microscopic organisms, with the air, water, soil, and sunlight around them. That's the essence of ecology, the study of how life interacts with its environment. Ecology is all about relationships between organisms and their surroundings. At the heart of this are ecosystems, natural areas where living organisms or biotic factors interact with non-living elements called abiotic factors to create a balanced environment. Biotic factors include all living things, from the tiniest bacteria to towering trees. Abiotic factors, on the other hand, are non-living elements like sunlight, temperature, water, and soil. Together, they form the foundation of every ecosystem. Every organism lives in a specific place called its habitat, where it finds everything it needs to survive. And each organism plays a unique role, or niche, within its environment, whether it's a pollinating bee or a hunting predator. Ecology is organized into levels, from the tiniest organism to the entire planet. Let's explore these levels of the ecological hierarchy. An organism is an individual living thing, like a fox. A species is a group of organisms that can reproduce and create fertile offspring. A population is all the foxes living in a specific area. A community includes foxes and all other species in the same area, like birds, insects, and plants. An ecosystem combines these living organisms with their abiotic surroundings. A biome is a large region with a specific climate and ecosystems, like rainforests or tundras. And finally, the biosphere encompasses all parts of Earth where life exists. Some species are thriving, while others are at risk. Threatened species are on the verge of becoming endangered. Endangered species are at immediate risk of extinction. Sadly, extinct species no longer exist, such as the dodo or the woolly mammoth. Organisms interact in fascinating ways. In mutualism, both species benefit. In commensalism, one organism benefits while the other remains unaffected. And in parasitism, one organism benefits at the expense of another. Every organism has a way of getting energy. Autotrophs, like plants, make their own food using sunlight. Heterotrophs, like animals, rely on others for nutrition. Herbivores eat plants, like cows. Carnivores eat meat, like lions. Omnivores enjoy both, like humans. Scavengers, like vultures, feed on leftovers. Detritivores, like crabs, break down dead organisms, speeding up decay. Finally, microscopic organisms called saprotrophic use enzymes to decompose dead material, enriching the soil for new life to grow. It's nature's way of recycling. Now, let's dive into the science of taxonomy, the system that helps us classify and name all these organisms. Taxonomy is the branch of science that organizes living things based on their similarities and differences. Why do we classify organisms? To distinguish between species, give them unique and universally recognized names, and identify patterns that make them easier to study and remember. One of the most important tools in taxonomy is binomial nomenclature, a system developed by Carl Linnaeus. It uses Latin to name organisms by their genus and species, like Homo sapiens for humans. Let's take a closer look at the major kingdoms of life. Monera, like E. coli, are unicellular organisms without a true nucleus. Protists, like amoebas, are also unicellular but have a true nucleus. Fungi, like yeast, can be unicellular or multicellular and rely on heterotrophic feeding. Plants, such as ferns, are multicellular autotrophs. Animals like flamingos are multicellular heterotrophs. Animals are further divided into two main groups. Vertebrates, animals with backbones, which include fish with scales, fins, and gills, are cold-blooded and can lay eggs or give live birth, like groupers. Amphibians, like frogs, have smooth, moist skin and lay jelly-covered eggs in water. Reptiles, such as iguanas, have dry, scaly skin and lay eggs with leathery shells. Birds, like hawks, have feathers, lay hard-shelled eggs, and are warm-blooded. Mammals, like huches, have hair, give live birth, and are also warm-blooded. Invertebrates, animals without backbones, include groups such as mollusks, which have soft bodies with distinct head and foot regions, arthropods, divided into insects with 6 legs and often wings, like butterflies, arachnids with 8 legs and no antennae, like tarantulas, crustaceans with 10 or more legs and 2 pairs of antennae, like lobsters, myriapods, which have many legs, like centipedes. Plants are also classified into groups based on how they reproduce. Non-seed-bearing plants, which reproduce using spores. Seed-bearing plants, divided into conifers, which have cones, angiosperms, which have flowers and are further categorized as monocotyledons, with single cotyledons, parallel veins, and fibrous roots, like grasses. Dicotyledons, with 2 cotyledons, branched veins, and taproots, like roses. Taxonomy reveals the incredible diversity of life on Earth, helping us understand and appreciate the unique features of every species. Now, let's explore the fascinating concept of energy flow in ecosystems. At the heart of this flow is the food chain, a linear sequence that depicts how energy is transferred from one organism to another. Organisms are positioned in trophic levels, which represent their role in the food chain. A crucial point is that only 10% of the energy is transferred to the next level, while the rest is lost as heat. This energy loss explains why food chains rarely exceed 5 links. There's simply not enough energy to support additional levels. But nature is rarely simple. A food web, a network of interconnected food chains, provides a more accurate picture of how energy moves through an ecosystem. Now, let's talk about ecological pyramids, which visualize the biological productivity of each trophic level. There are 3 main types. The pyramid of numbers shows the number of individual organisms at each level. The pyramid of biomass illustrates the total dry mass of organisms present at each level at a given time. The pyramid of energy highlights how energy diminishes with each trophic level, with 90% of the energy being lost due to heat, unconsumed body parts, and other vital processes. Ecological pyramids can take different shapes. Upright, where each level gets smaller as you go up. Partly upright, when certain levels break the usual pattern. Inverted, such as in aquatic ecosystems where producers, like phytoplankton, have less biomass than their consumers. We also have intriguing phenomena like biological control, where predators are introduced to manage pests naturally. Bioaccumulation, the buildup of chemicals like pesticides within an organism's tissues. Biomagnification, where these harmful substances increase in concentration as they move up the food chain. Ecosystems achieve equilibrium when populations of carnivores and herbivores regulate each other, creating balance. This is vividly seen in predator-prey cycles, where the population sizes of predators and prey rise and fall in a rhythmic pattern. Each of these elements contributes to the intricate web of life, driven by energy and sustained by balance. If you enjoyed this video, then click that like button and subscribe to our channel. Check out the rest of the videos in the biology series to learn more.